Democracy is coming to the USA.
Good morning, everybody. Happy New Year. We're here because we do not want coal in Oakland. We do not want coal anywhere to be burned, to poison our air, to pollute our water. We'll have a very short program, and then we will go upstairs to the coal hearing. We're here with our beautiful banners and art, and I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Pat St. Ange, a resident of Oakland, a fighter for social justice her whole life, and a representative of Idle No More. Pat, please start us off.
Sego Aguego. Patricia Tano Ikok Peshni Ichuwi Nyonyats. Hi everybody, my name's Patricia. Thank you, Michael. And I would like to start us off by remembering that we're settlers on Ohlone land. And so I'm Mohawk and French Canadian and adopted Cheyenne River Lakota. And I would like to start by offering thanks and gratitude and love to the people in Mohawk. Aguego, ondi de wa wenoni nen guanigura tano, diete nu wiradone, ongwe sum'a oloni tano, ojistonha ohunja, edo nyodunhak nen guanigura. And so I invite us to gather our minds together as one mind. Bundle up all of our love and gratitude for the people, the Ohlone people and all of the people who are working to realign themselves in a good way with Mother Earth and with all of our relatives, human and non-human. Very often we forget that every being is impacted by all of the things that we, as the human relatives, who are in fact the youngest relatives on the planet, are behaving. We are doing deep damage. And so we send our love and gratitude to all of those who have held this space, held the love and the commitment to Earth, and held the love and commitment to each other and to all of our relatives. We send deep gratitude. We also want to send love and gratitude to the people who struggle in every way to make life better on Earth. And we want to send love this morning to the decision makers. We ask for wisdom for them as they deliberate on this important issue. We know that the corporations, the multinational corporations, are profoundly committed to profit. And so we need to match that commitment, and in fact we need to be more committed to wholeness and well-being than they are to profits. Because as long as people like Phil Tagami are willing to sit in partnership with coal companies that have none of our interests in mind, then we have to live with the consequences. And so I thank you all for being here, for your commitment to no coal in Oakland, but also to all of the issues that so many of you work so hard to do to make sure that the generations yet to come have a home. And all of the generations, the human generations, the trees, all of our relatives, that there is a place for them as time goes by. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Patricia, a long leader in the movement in Oakland and in the Bay Area. Thank you very much. We're going to go upstairs in about a half hour, but we have a few more speakers, and I want to introduce to you Ted Franklin, our volunteer lawyer and leader of the legal struggle outside of the courtroom, to say a few words and to explain to us what is happening here while we try to stop coal from coming to the Bay Area. Ted?
Thank you, Michael. So I'm used to going into this building with a suit and tie, as I've been a lawyer for many years, and today I proudly go with a No Coal in Oakland t-shirt. To see some of the old friends in the hall, perhaps. These are the halls of justice here. But as we all know, the struggle for justice is never just in the halls of justice. In fact, the great comedian Lenny Bruce once said, the only justice in the halls of justice is in the halls. So we're hoping today, though, that we'll get some justice in a courtroom. And we have reason to hope. I'm going to describe a little bit, very briefly, the activities that are going to take place in the courtroom today and what this is about. Today is a hearing on motions for summary judgment. That means that one side or the other can actually win without a trial because the judge decides that there's no need for a factual inquiry that would require witnesses to speak and testify in open court and then be evaluated and have the facts sorted out. So both sides have actually argued in their briefs, all 200 pages of them, that there are no facts in dispute that would require the case to go to trial, that in fact they are entitled on their part to win the case without trial. Now, if there's a trial, it's going to be in 6 days. Next Tuesday, it starts here at 8:30 in the morning. And the motion that's brought, that is going to be argued today in the summary judgment motion, has several components. There's 3 claims that have been brought in this lawsuit. One of them is based on the Constitution of the United States. Mr. Tagami says he has a constitutional right to ship coal across state lines, and that therefore, or that people do, and therefore his constitutional rights are being infringed by the efforts to ban coal handling and storage in Oakland. Now that's a constitutional argument. There's also a preemption argument, and the judge sent out an order last night saying he's not going to hear argument on the preemption argument today, which means he's probably already made up his mind about how that one's going to go. And I don't want to predict what that means, but I'm optimistic that that means he's already decided that there's no need to basically hear, that he's on our side on that one. And that is an argument basically that the federal laws constitute a jurisdictional barrier to states and cities enacting any regulations like this. So that's our and then there's a third claim. The third claim is that the agreements that were reached with the city, in particular a development agreement, was breached. That the city had promised him the right to build a marine terminal to ship whatever he pleased, and that now, after the fact, the city's coming along and trying to change that and take away the shipment of coal. That argument is, of course, fallacious. I mean, there's actually a provision in the agreement that says that if the city holds a public hearing and has substantial evidence of health and safety risks. Hey, are there health and safety risks from shipping coal through Oakland? Are there health and safety risks from burning that coal and having it come back to haunt us? Yeah! Okay, well, so we're hoping that the judge understands that the thousands of pages of documents that were submitted in a public process adds up to a democratic demonstration, demonstration of proof that there is substantial evidence to support a health and safety regulation that prohibits coal. So those are the things that are going to be argued. If the arguments get kind of complicated, we've prepared here a very detailed, it's called a brief guide to today's hearings. It's 8 pages long and tiny print, but it's got a lot of information about the case. So there may be some lags and you have a chance to read it if you're interested in some of the detail. So I want to say that whatever happens today, and it might be that the judge decides in favor of Tagami, it might be that the judge decides entirely in favor of the city and ends the case, or it might be that the judge decides to take the case to trial next week. Whatever happens, the struggle is not going to be over. The struggle will never be over just because of things that happen in court. The struggle will not be over until we have another viable economic plan for the West Oakland property, right at the foot of the Bay Bridge. And if that is not developed in a way that is sound and makes sense and is healthy and safe, there are going to be continuing problems. There'll be one proposal after another. So we can't kill it in court. We have to do it with the people's movement, and a fight will go on. Thank you.
Thank you, Ted, for explaining to us all the legal ins and outs. We're here to stop coal. We need experts like Ted to help us with the legal stuff, but we're here because we do not want coal. Do we want coal? No! No coal in Oakland. No coal in Oakland. No coal in Oakland. No coal in Oakland. I'm glad more people are coming. We have lots of students that have arrived. Our forces are building and becoming bigger and bigger. As you can see, we have beautiful art here. As part of the movement against coal, art is part of the movement for social justice. Art is part of the movement for economic justice. We have here artist supreme David Solnit, who has organized all this art, who has showed us how to create our own art. And I would like to now introduce David Solnit to tell us about how art and the movement go together. David?
Thank you. The world is actually made of stories, not of atoms. And so if we want to win positive changes, we have to become powerful storytellers, and the arts is one of the most powerful tools to tell stories. Just a quick story. Folks remember when the North Bay fires started on that Sunday night with the strong winds. My mother-in-law, Shirley White, lives in Santa Rosa, and she lives up in the hills just north of Santa Rosa. One of the trees in her neighborhood blew over with those 80-mile-an-hour gusts, took down a power line and started a fire at about 1 a.m. She's 85-year-old, grew up on a farm in Central Valley, and so she saw the fire, the down power line start a fire. It spread about 40 feet, started going up the trees. She beelined outside, grabbed the fire hose, didn't even have time to call 911, and got the fire largely under control as other neighbors heard and came out, joined, and half an hour later the fire department came and helped soak it down. The next neighborhood over burned to the ground, and as we know, we lost a lot of our community members and thousands of homes. And I guess for me, the feeling I have about that story, she came and stayed with us when she got evacuated, and she complained, is like, damn, my nightgown smells like smoke. But she's, I think, did what all of us would do if we saw a fire. And I just want to celebrate No Coal in Oakland in that what scientists tell us is that we can't develop new forms of fossil fuels without wrecking the climate even further, which means that the cycle of drought, fire, and mudslides. We had 12 people die yesterday in mudslides in Southern California in areas that had been subjected to drought and then fire. That's a direct result of the fossil fuel industry doing what scientists tell us we can't do, which is develop new forms of fossil fuels and raise the temperature of the earth. So, want to celebrate No Coal in Oakland because they put out a fire in Oakland, a new form of fossil fuel that was going to both pollute our air in the short term, but also pollute the climate and create more fires, not just for us, but especially even more for the next generation.
Right.
So my feeling to Phil Tagami is that, like my mother-in-law Shirley White, No Coal in Oakland put out a fire in Oakland, and why the hell are you standing there with a lighter and gasoline trying to start it up again in this courtroom? So, so thank you for being here. Thank you to No Coal in Oakland for winning, and I'm excited that people all over are going to put out all those fires together, shut down the fossil fuel industry. That's what the scientists tell us. We can't develop any new fossil fuels. We have to transition to 100% renewable and phase out the existing fossil fuels. We have all the know-how. We just need the political muscle. So let's all build a movement, take those folks that are starting fires out of power, and build a better world. Thank you.
Thank you, David, and thank you for all this beautiful art. I hope all the videographers are capturing our culture as well as our determination. I would now like to introduce to you our leader for 2 or 3 decades in Oakland, fighting pollution, fighting asthma, fighting for the people of West Oakland, a port commissioner who served her time trying to get the port to clean up, and now she's working with us to try to stop coal in Oakland, as she has been doing for the last 2 decades. Let me introduce to you Ms. Margaret Gordon. Here she is.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm about keeping it in the ground. Keep it in the ground, and everybody needs to be saying, keep it in the ground.
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 We have enough renewable energy and technology that we do not need coal ever again on this world. We do not need it in West Oakland. We're already impacted, vulnerable, and at risk, and disproportionately impacted from fossil fuels such as diesel particulates and black carbon. We do not need no coal stored in Oakland.
That's right.
Army base was supposed to be a benefit to the community of West Oakland, and we are not benefiting by the storage of coal. We have health issues that are unknown and continues to be unknown. We also have people and children who are sick, who have asthma inhalers, and are eligible to schools. We do not need coal to be stored in West Oakland. Keep it in the ground. Keep it in the ground. Keep it in the ground.
Keep it in the ground.
Thank y'all.
Very good.
Thank you, Ms. Margaret. 2 decades of leadership or more in West Oakland. We have a lot of people here wearing red t-shirts that say no coal in Oakland. We will be wearing those t-shirts inside to silently and with great decorum inform the court that we want no coal in Oakland. But I see some people without t-shirts here. We have t-shirts over there on the wall. Everybody who wants a t-shirt, if you can find one that fits you, please go over there and get a t-shirt. If you have some money for a donation, that would be good, because we are a people's movement. But I'm going to call this rally to a close so that we can get in line with just one more thing, and that is renewables are doable. Renewables are doable. Renewables are doable. What do we want? No coal. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? No coal. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? No coal. When do we want it? Now. Thank you, everybody, for showing up so early in the morning. We're going to have a group photo now. Get your t-shirts, come on back, hold a sign, and we'll do it for the people of West Oakland, the people of the Bay Area, and we're fighting for the people of the world to protect our planet. Thank you for showing up, everybody. Thank you very much.
So, quick group photo. Everybody group in, coming closer, sitting on the ground in front.
Hey, David, do you want these signs organized in any kind of way?
what we're organizing for our
If you
40th.
want to look
I would
behind you, if
just
you're
like
holding
to
a
say
sign,
that I'm a representative of SCIU 1021.
maybe the
And
flag step
SCIU
back.
1021, with its 54,000 members in Northern California, supports the no coal movement. Thank you.
And who's our chant leader? We're going to lead us to chant. We have a chant leader, song leader.
What do we want? No coal! When do we want it? Now!